Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of a Hannibal reaction. This is Haarute Live and my name is Matt. Hello, what's up? Okay, hi, Hannibal. So, last time on Hannibal, what happened? We began essentially Hannibal 2. You know, like it felt like we were going on a storyline and then it felt like it ended and now we're doing a different storyline. So we had the Great Red Dragon, where a new killer has arisen. They call him the Tooth Fairy, but he calls himself the Red Dragon, or the Great Red Dragon, I don't remember. Anyway, he seems to have some issues. He's out here killing entire families, placing like glasses on their like faces. I think he bites them or not. Like he has like a weird denture or something. Will has come back from a retirement because he doesn't want to do this shit anymore, but Jack essentially went and said, hey, we need your skills. I hate to ask, but you need to come back. So Will came back. So he is investigating as to how do we find this dude, who it is. And then at the end of the episode, he's like, I gotta go talk to Hannibal. So he goes to, I believe this is a children's institution for the criminally insane. So he goes to visit Hannibal there. And that's kind of where the episode ended. So yeah, we have the situation where we're doing something similar to season 1. You know, where Will is helping the FBI, trying to catch this one killer dude, but now Hannibal, instead of being Will's psychiatrist, is now behind bars. So yeah, now we'll figure out what to do, and maybe Hannibal will give us some words of wisdom to try and help us catch this dude. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be honest with y'all, it's like it's a little bit late, but also I'm like super hungry. But if I don't record this right now, I'm just not gonna do it later. So in order to be productive, I'm gonna record this right now, and maybe I'll record the episode and then I'll go and cook something, and then I'll come back and record the like discussion. That's probably for the best. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. But alright, let's watch the episode. I forgot, because I always do. Check out the Patreon, check out the link in the description below or the pop-up on screen. There should be a thing right here. In order to go to the Patreon, you can watch early access episodes. The next 2 episodes should be already up there, so up to episode 11. You can also watch full-length reactions to every single Hannibal episode. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I believe we may begin. So, Hannibal, Season 3, Episode 9. Let's go.
Is there a child in your life? Well,
Yes, there is.
I gave you a child, if you recall. You just came here to look at me. Came to get the old scent again.
I wouldn't be
Why
surprised.
don't you just smell yourself? Perhaps you are a new man. Are you a good father, Mo? Family values may have declined over the last century, but we still help our families when we can. Your family will.
Alright, we'll see where this goes. I like that his eyes look like completely dark. Abigail, what's up? Oh, are we gonna see what happened in the scene?
Many more than your father. Are you ready to die, Abigail?
Yes. Can I push the button?
Yes.
Is she the one that will choose her ear? Oh. There's just a spray in the blood. Emulating the... Yeah, okay. That's clever. I have a question. Does that bloody face at the intro is Mads Mikkelsen, or is based about Mads Mikkelsen? Because I just had a moment where I was like, wait. After 3.5 seasons.
You still with Margot?
Yes.
Nice.
We have a baby.
Good for Margot.
Good for me. I carried him. He's my son. He's the Verger heir.
That's such a weird thing, but sure.
There are only 5 doors between Hannibal and the outside, and I have the keys to all of them.
I'm not letting him in, Alana. Don't worry about me.
I'm not just worried about you. Last time it didn't end with you.
This season does a lot of this like weird transitions. where the background fades out, but the person stays in.
A stepson absolves you of any biological blame.
We're psychoanalyzing
Better
this.
than to breed. Can't pass on those terrible traits you fear the most.
Fucking wow. That's a shot. Baltimore State Hospital. Oh my god, it's her. Lady, we saved your life.
I love a good finger wagging.
Yes, you do. How is Margot?
Okay. Alright. Very mature.
I don't know what you're planning with Will Graham.
I just want him to like me.
Planning something.
Well, it came to me.
Yes, he did.
I advised him against it.
I'm sure.
Are you suggesting I don't have Will's best interest in my mind?
I'm stating it as fact.
I don't know if you should push his buttons. The only reason why he's here is because he gave up. I feel like if you push enough buttons, he'll do something whack. I mean...
This is what your father is. This is all of him now.
Did you
This is
literally...
what death.
Did you bury his corpse up just for theatrics? I guess not so much theatrics as it is like a hardcore session with Abigail of overcoming your past.
He was as good to me as he knew how to be.
That is factual.
Hunting with him was the best time I ever had.
Yes.
What did you put inside of him? Like, do corpses do that? Whatever that liquid was coming out? I don't think they do. Is this an X? Oh, wait, that's the killer. That's Red Dragon. He has deformity on his lip. Is he still imagining people that are no longer there? I would like to understand what is wrong with this man. Oh, okay, I see. So he's literally like imagining himself to be turning into a literal dragon.
So he feels compelled to hurt the victim's pets before he comes to kill the family.
It eliminates an early warning system.
I mean, that's
Chase
true.
the place, kill the pet, then the family.
So but that also means that he chooses families that have pets. I mean, that could just be a coincidence, but...
I'm not talking to you.
We're co-conspirators, Will. I died for you and your cause.
You didn't die enough. And snapped a photo of my temporary colostomy bag.
Covered your junk with a black box. A big black box.
Oh my god. Oh my god, girl.
Murder husbands.
You did run off to Europe together. How does the Tooth Fairy compare with Hannibal Lecter?
She called them murderer husbands, which is true.
Takes one to catch one? You referring to Hannibal Lecter or me?
Yes, that's also true. He is reading about all of this. But, yeah, this is also a problem because now he knows about Will. God damn it, Freddie Lounge. I like that she was like, I died for you, and then Will is like, you didn't die enough. What the fuck are you doing?
I need to ask a favor.
In addition to the plum.
In addition to the plum.
I like how he has to specify that.
Infrared movie film.
Okay.
Hot. Sensitive up around 1,000 nanometers.
Better off shooting digital.
Oh, I'm not a fan of that format.
Nobody around here is.
I could be crazy, but was that woman blind?
I take the bus all the time. You don't need to worry about me.
I'm not worried. Ride with me.
Oh.
For my pleasure.
She's blind. Okay, cool. I cannot believe that worked. I mean, here's the thing, is that I like that we're learning that this, the, whatever his name is, McClyde, the Great Red Dragon, he's like very like shy. Like not just shy, but like not well adjusted. He has like difficulty with interaction.
I understand you because you speak very well. And because I listen. People don't pay attention. If you don't want to talk, okay. But I hope that you do talk because you can and because I'm interested in what you have to say.
I like this lady a lot.
That's good.
I felt no sympathy from you. I like that. Sympathy feels like spit on my cheek. And I don't do self-pity. May I touch your face? I just want to know if you're smiling or frowning. I want to know whether to just shut up or not.
I'm smiling.
Does he not want her to feel the deformity on his lip?
Randy's got huge balls.
Never mind about it.
They almost drag on the ground. He has to retract them when he runs.
Is he a fucking Tanuki? Like,
And I'll be here whenever you come home.
don't say that. Don't jinx it. Don't die before he comes back home. Alright, nightmare time. Are you sweating? Are you sweating? Yo! Jack and Hannibal talking. I want to see this.
I wrote Will a note, warning him you'd come calling.
Yes, I read your note before my office forwarded it to Will.
Ooh. Interesting.
You've placed him back in the pot, and you're letting him cook.
We're all in this stew together, Doctor.
It would be more honest if you ate his brain right out of his skull.
And you're nothing if not honest.
You chumming the waters, Jack.
It takes one to catch one.
It takes two to catch one.
Will has never been more effective than he is with you inside his head.
I agree. But don't think you can persuade me to play along with appeals to my intellectual vanity.
I don't think I'll persuade you, Doctor. You'll either play or you won't.
How much room does Will have, Jack?
He does have a fair amount of scars, doesn't he? Earlier I was looking at this chick and he had a scar here. And then he's probably have a scar here after his skull was being cut open. He has a scar right here. Like,
We have to protect each other in these new lives we create.
bro, you literally murder her.
Hunting with your father was the best time you've ever had.
You're gonna hunt with
Now you're
mine.
going to hunt with me.
Yeah. Bro, you literally murder her. Like, I understand that you were angry at your lover, but
Hello.
Dr. Lecter,
that's
I wanted to tell you that I am delighted
that's him.
you've taken an interest in me. The great red dragon.
Hannibal's like smiling a little bit. The way he said it too. Because like I wonder if they casted the actor based on how much they could do that noise. Because he didn't say the Great Red Dragon. He didn't say the Great Red Dragon. He said the Great Red Dragon. Like it was like more guttural. Like it was like a dragon was taking over as he said it. So I wonder if that was part of the casting for the actor, you know? Are you able to just sound like that? Alright, what's up, y'all? This is weird. This is the first time I've done this for Hannibal, but there was a time skip in between the episode and this discussion. It's been like 10 hours since I watched the episode. Maybe like 9, 8. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. So, last night I recorded the episode, and I remember when I said in the intro that I was like, oh man, I'm hungry, so I'm probably gonna go cook something and then record the discussion. So I went and cooked something. I made myself like a pizza. It was great. But while I was like in the process, I realized that I was like not tired, but like I was looking at my phone and I was like, this doesn't look right. Like my vision was like a little bit fucked up. And then I realized I was starting to get like a headache. And then it got into like a real headache. So I was like, okay, I'm probably not in a condition to record. So I just ate something, fucked around for like half an hour, and then it just passed out. So now it's like 7 in the morning. And now I'm here. Hello. So yeah, now let's talk about the episode. So don't worry, I just skimmed through the episode before we begin, and I'm gonna skim through it again as I talk about it. But God, my hair looks like shit. Like it really does. Like there's like a lot of humidity today, and yesterday it's been like raining a lot. My ceiling fan stopped working, so there's not a lot of air circulation anyway. Also, I need like a haircut, so I'm gonna figure that out after I record this. Anyway, so Hannibal appears to have Will's best interest in mind, but we can't be entirely sure about that, and Alana doesn't think so either. And maybe, well, here's the thing, is that I noticed as well, I was watching the scene with Hannibal and Jack near the end, because Hannibal is really like, you're really just gonna throw Will out there to do the dirty work, and how many scars are you gonna be able to fit in Will anyway? Like, how much room for scars does he have? Because like, Will has been scarred a lot. Will has been through a lot. Given a significant chunk of them was because of Hannibal too. So, bro, but it really appears that Hannibal does care about Will. I mean, I think he does, but it's a weird relationship. But I believe he does because like he's in love with him. But so the fact that Jack is like, no, we need him in order to solve this crime. Hannibal is like, I don't give a shit about this crime. Just fucking don't get my boy out there. But this scene, something I just want to point out, and this might not be a thing, but because the show loves its like symbolism and minor details, I will say that if we have this like scene where Jack and Hannibal are just like staring at each other like face to face, and Hannibal is the one wearing white and Jack is the one wearing black. And Hannibal is the one that actually does seem to care about Will, and Jack is the one that is essentially saying, like, we need to use Will in order to catch this killer, which is, like, he's not even attempting to be like, I feel bad or sorry for Will. It's just like, no, we have to use them, you know? It's like a very, like, cold thing to say. So it almost feels like in this scene, Hannibal is actually the good guy, because he's the one that keeps Will's, like, safety in mind. Never mind the fact that he was like literally slicing his skull up in like 2 episodes ago. Don't worry about that. But yeah, like I like that scene because of that. Like, I feel like I said this like previous episode during the discussion, and I hate comparing other media that I like to this because I hate comparing media, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But it makes me think to Yakuza Kiwami, which is like a remake of a game that was made after the prequel was made, and the prequel added a lot of stuff. So what ends up happening is that you have the previous story, and then you have the story that comes immediately afterwards, and it is canon, but there's this weird thing that you feel while seeing the characters, that you're like, I don't know if you would have done this in the previous iteration that you had a couple years ago. Like, and I feel that a little bit because, like, here's the thing, is that I could be, like, mistaken, but, like, I feel like Jack Crawford might have been more empathetic previous episodes than he is now, you know? So it all, to me at least, it almost feels like before they had more liberty with what they were gonna do, because they were doing their own story. So Jack Crawford had more opportunities to be more of a free character. But now, because they're adapting like an actual story, because this is, if I understand this correctly, this is from the actual book. So now that they're adapting that story, that means that they need Jack Crawford to be a specific way in order for it to make sense later in the plot. So it almost feels like Jack Crawford feels more cold now because his coldness is gonna cost something in the plot that it's going to matter, you know? Like, maybe he's gonna get well killed, you know? And given that might have happened a little bit to like a small degree before, that would have been too crazy to imagine, right? But at least it felt like Jack would care a lot about Will. You know, it did feel like that. It did feel like he's like, I trust that he can do it. I believe in him. He has help, even though his help didn't help at all. It was actually the opposite, you know, like, because even if like Jack had put Will in this, like, okay, you got to do all this like work and investigation for me and stuff. If he hadn't had Hannibal literally messing up with his brain, then it probably would have been okay, you know? We would never know, but it probably would have been okay if if Hannibal hadn't like interfered with Will's like therapy essentially. So if he had like an actual good therapist, or not therapist, psychiatrist, there we go. If he had an actual real psychiatrist, then it would have been maybe good. So yeah, but in this season, I mean in this half of the season, this Grey Dragon storyline, it feels like Will is like, I don't want to do this, and Jack is like, I'm gonna make you do this, you know. He's like gonna subtly manipulate things so he would do it, you know. He goes to his family and he tells Will's wife, I guess it's his wife, that it wasn't like fully confirmed, but they did say he has like a wife and a son now or something. So let's operate on the assumption that it's a wife and son relationship, even though he just married into it, you know. It was already something that was already there. So it's not necessarily his son, which Hannibal talks interesting about the fact that Will's fears breeding because he doesn't want his curse to pass down onto another human being, you know, which is interesting. But it's the idea that even Jack manipulates a little bit the wife by giving her the pictures, just like, oh, look at this like families that were killed by this killer, and Will could be stopping them. And then the wife is like, Will, do it, you know. So Will is like, oh, god damn it, now I feel like I have to, you know. And even the letter that Will gets the letter from Hannibal that says don't do it, which Jack forwarded to Will, you know. Like, Hannibal did write that letter, and Jack didn't. He intercepted it, but he didn't stop it. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna let it through, let it pass, which is interesting because it almost feels like maybe Will got like a legitimate warning from Hannibal, but because Will has like really complex feelings about Hannibal, he's almost like, fuck you, I can do what I want. So, and he gets the letter, and he reads the letter, and Hannibal is like, Will, don't do this. And Will is like, fuck you, I'm doing this. And Jack almost, it feels like maybe Jack even expected Will to react that way. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna let the letter pass. That will actually play to my benefit, you know? Like, Will's gonna read that, and he's gonna be like, fuck you, Hannibal. And then he's gonna be like more committed to coming, you know? So then he will eventually come, you know? So it's always this like mind games that is happening, and you can read into them, or maybe you don't. You know, like, I might just be talking out of my ass, but it feels like all these details do amount to something. They do matter. Hannibal feels like a little bit different, maybe not too much. Jack feels a little bit different in the sense that he seems more colder. Will feels the same, I think. Alana feels like she has felt for the rest of season 3, actually. She feels different than before, but consistent with what we've seen this season, you know, so that's fine. But I almost feel like any character differences that I might see is because those character differences must be there in order for them to, like, for the plot to make sense, you know, because now we have to adapt instead of having our own original storyline. So that's what I thought. And the only reason I say this is because I've had experiences with when this happens, which is essentially with the Yakuza storyline, because it is one of my favorite franchises, and seeing that happen, I'm like almost seeing it in here too. But I might just be talking out of my ass. That might not be a thing. Let's talk about the Great Red Dragon. So I'll say this. Like a couple, like I don't know, like 20 minutes ago, I was like, I saw the title, which was "And the Woman Clothed with the Sun," and then the episode after that is "And the Woman Clothed in Sun," which is interesting naming convention. I'll give them that. It's very interesting. So what I actually did is that I assumed that was like a quote from the book. So I like wrote "And the Woman Clothed with the Sun" because I wanted to know where that quote came from. And actually, it's from the Bible. So the woman clothed with the sun, or the woman of the apocalypse, not to be confused with the whore of Babylon, is a figure described in chapter 12 of the book of Revelation. Okay, so I read this like story, and here's the thing: I'm not well versed in any of this, because while I was my mom attempted to raise me as a Christian. It backfired, and I don't care too much about religion now. I suppose I never did, but I do like mythology, so reading into stuff like this can be interesting. I mostly appreciate mythology in other cultures though, but I read about this, and if my understanding of this story is correct, essentially the woman clothed with the sun is interpreted to be Virgin Mary, but it is like open to interpretation anyway. But it is about this woman, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. The story tells of a woman who is pregnant and about to give birth, and then there is a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads, who is about to devour her child as soon as it was born. But her child is caught up unto God, and the woman herself is fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. By the way, I hate that numbering convention. Why do we need to overcomplicate things, bro? Then there is a description of war in heaven, of the angels against the dragon, and the great red dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, and was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with them. The dragon attempts to inundate her place of refuge by water as a flood emerging from his mouth, but the flood is swallowed by the earth, so the dragon went to make war with the remnants of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have testimony of Jesus Christ. I didn't catch half of that, but my very base understanding of that is essentially woman pregnant, woman gives birth. I believe the child might be Jesus, or the representation of what the church may be. I don't know. It's open to interpretation, apparently. There's this dragon that wants to eat the baby as it comes out, and it's a great red dragon. God took the child safely, and then the woman fled with eagle wings or some shit. And the great red dragon might be Satan. Cool. So the Great Red Dragon is interesting because I thought it was just like a painting and it was just like a title that this character in the show had, but no, it's a biblical reference. You know what? I'm not surprised. So this killer is actually naming himself after the Great Red Dragon told in this story, which seems to be Satan. That also makes like that painting like creepier, which I like. Because the episode is named The Woman Clothed with the Sun, and then another one is The Woman Clothed in Sun, makes me feel like there will be a woman that will matter. But maybe there won't be, you know? Like, I'm just analyzing titles of episodes now. Like, maybe the titles won't mean anything. Maybe it's just supposed to reference the original story, and that's about it. So I don't know if there will be a woman clothed with or in sun that will matter. But I'll tell you what, there is a woman that is like an interesting character that we've been introduced in this episode. And she's hanging out with the Great Red Dragon. So, yeah, she's not pregnant, at least not that we know of. But unless she does the deed with okay, actually, what was his fucking name? Was it Francis Adelheid? Because I was skimming through the episode and I think she called him Francis Adelheid. Let me look at the subtitles. Francis Dollarhide. So maybe Francis will get together with this woman and they will have a baby. And then he's gonna eat the baby. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, maybe Hannibal will eat the baby. Because Hannibal has also been proven to be Satan. Because of the theatrics of the show. You know, like a couple episodes ago, you saw Hannibal being like Lucifer. And it was like almost funny how extra it was. So maybe he's actually the Great Red Dragon. Maybe that's Hannibal. It's not Francis. Which is something that would make sense. You know, the name of the show is Hannibal. Hannibal is the most important character. It's not the Red Dragon. So that's interesting though. That's very interesting because now I'm thinking about it, and it's the fact that the book is called Red Dragon, right? The book and the movie are called Red Dragon, but the most important character in said movies is Hannibal, right? Because that's the thing. It's that like I don't know jack shit about that movie or those like the books, but I do know about Hannibal Lecter because I remember the name Hannibal Lecter. and I know that he's a cannibal, and what's the name of the actor that played Hannibal in the movie? Fuck, Anthony Hopkins, that guy. I know that. So like, I'm pretty sure that Hannibal is like the most, at least popular or maybe important character in the book and movies. And I think someone told me that there's other books, and the name of the third book is Hannibal. I think someone told me that in comments, in the Patreon YouTube comments. So if that is the case, it feels like Hannibal is the most important character in this entire franchise. So it's weird to call the first book Red Dragon. It's almost like a red herring, you know? Like if you were reading the book and it's like, oh, Red Dragon, and you have this like main antagonist, which is the Red Dragon, and it's like, oh my god, the Red Dragon is the most important character. Psych! It was Hannibal, bitch. So that might be a thing that happens in the book and the movie, I guess. But because I'm watching a show called Hannibal, and because I've been following Hannibal for 2.5 seasons, it means that now I'm like, okay, the Red Dragon showed up, cool. I don't think he's the most important character. And maybe that's something you're supposed to think when you're reading the original novel or watching the movie even. But because of the nature of this show, I'm not thinking that. So maybe Hannibal is going to do something that is like, I mean, he's behind bars, so I don't know how he would do anything unless he like escapes or somebody breaks him out, like Will breaks him out or something. And I don't know what he would do. What he would possibly do. I think they talk about Hannibal like transferring to another like institution previous episode, didn't I? So maybe he'll escape then, and then he'll become part of the actual plot. He'll do actually something. So okay, that could be a thing. That could be interesting. Anyway, but because of the name of the show being Hannibal and me following Hannibal, it makes me think that Hannibal is gonna matter way more than when he matters right now, and maybe the Great Red Dragon won't matter that much. So we'll see. But let's not try to analyze that on a meta way, and let's try to focus on the Great Red Dragon and what he might do. So this woman shows up. Is her name like McClyde or something like that? McLean. Okay, so Miss McLean. She appears to be working in some kind of like film thing. Sorry, I don't know things. I'm very uncultured. So she appears to be working on some like film revelation kind of thing. And he meets with her because he's asking for some like supplies regarding that or something like that. I don't fully know. She wants something. He wanted something to like record like something at nighttime, you know, or what was it? I don't exactly remember what he asked for, but it was something in order to record film during nighttime. So he's a big fan of film, not digital, just film. I mean, we've seen shots of him like watching film and then going crazy, and I'm not exactly sure what he's on about and what his thing is as a killer. I'm still not sure about that, but he does seem to have moments where I feel like he imagines himself transforming into a literal dragon, you know, because he has this moment where he goes like, and he feels like he's in pain and he's like contorting. And then there's like this one shot where you see like a dragon tail, and it's like, okay, it feels like he's hallucinating or like imagining himself to be literally turning into a dragon or a beast of some sort. So that's an affliction that we should remember about Mr. Dollarhide here. But this woman is this blind woman that works there, and here's the thing, is that this man is not well adjusted. And this is something I realized while watching, is that he seems shy, but more than shy, it feels like he's not well adjusted. Francis, I mean, like he offers to give her a lift, and I'm not sure if he has like any ulterior motives behind that, or if he just wants to hang out with this woman, but he offers her a ride home, and she politely says like, you don't have to, at which point he's like, I'm not worried, ride with me for my pleasure. He definitely, like, that's such a creepy thing to say, because also the way he said it too, because it's not just like, ride with me for my pleasure, it's like, ride with me for my pleasure. Like, okay, that's when you run away. So, but because like it feels like he's not very well adjusted as a result. And here's the thing: is that it's not just that; it's the fact that every time you see him, it looks like he's living alone. It looks like he's going crazy. He's never interacted with anyone. Like, you never saw him interacting with anyone. You haven't seen that until right here, right now with this lady, McLean. So that actually is like a piece of characterization that adds into this character of Francis. Also, we had a scene where you see like a bunch of like elderly people, like grandma and grandpa, but like there's like 8 grandmas and like 8 grandpas, and it's like this giant table, and this kid, which is it is Francis, he's sitting there with them. He's eating at like the food of the table. Everyone else is just every elderly person is around him, and he's just eating, and he looks like awkward and uncomfortable, and it's like this silent like dinner. Nobody's talking to each other. And I think the woman that was like directly in front of him looked like a little bit like rigid or cold. I don't know. That might be me reading into things too much. But that's it. To me, it really felt like that scene was like, all right, this kid had a childhood where like he didn't really have like a proper, not proper, but like a traditional family. You know, he had like a weird family, or was raised in a weird household for old people, and nobody was necessarily like kind to him or something. I don't know. So it gave me this feeling. So maybe he did have like a weird upbringing, and that fucked him up in a social sense, and also he seems to have issues. So okay, I understand. So when he's talking to this lady, it really feels like, all right, this guy has like no idea how to interact with other human beings. You know, he definitely has issues with that. So yeah, that's something else worth pointing out. And it also makes you feel sorry for him. I mean, like, that's the thing, is that this person is fucked up. And he might kill this woman. He might not. I don't know. And, like, that's the other thing, is that he might be self-conscious over the like, deformity he has on his lip. Because the lady tried to touch him because she wanted to see whether he was smiling or frowning. And then he, like, stopped her. He was like, no, don't do that. And it almost feels like maybe he's self-conscious about it, which is why... Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Which is why he is actually trying to connect with this woman, because she's blind. So the only person he would want to connect with is someone that wouldn't be judgmental of him. Okay. Because other people might be judgmental of you because of your appearance. But he feels like he's safe in the presence of this woman. Okay, so maybe he won't kill her. Maybe he will actually have like some kind of relationship with this woman. Not necessarily a romantic one, it could be, but just like he feels welcomed in her presence, because she's also seemed like nice. And she also said something interesting, which was the fact that she feels like the reason why she came with this guy was because she didn't feel any pity from him, you know? Like sympathy. I think that's what she said. Because she hates being pitied. That makes sense, you know? Like, so she's blind. Maybe people look at her and they're like, oh my god, that poor woman. And if everyone saw you that way, you would get tired of it. You would be like, fuck off. Like, I understand you might be like kind-hearted by having that reaction, but it would get really annoying if you have to deal with that reaction forever, you know, from everyone. And also you wouldn't... That really would mess up with your relationships, wouldn't it? Every person you know pities you. That would mess up things a little bit, yes. So if you could have a relationship with someone that didn't feel that way, which is what she felt this guy was, which is what she came with him, and he feels like she will not be judgmental of his appearance because she cannot see him. Maybe they will get together or something. That would be interesting. So, okay. Now we're following this like Francis storyline. Okay. Like, honestly, when I started like recording this, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about with this episode, because I don't know if there's a lot to mention here. But now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, there's definitely some stuff regarding Francis and this lady, McClyde. Sorry, I keep thinking of McLean. I think McLean is from Die Hard, isn't it? I want to watch Die Hard. Yo, Christmas is in like 2 weeks. Should I watch Die Hard for Christmas? I never seen it. I just find funny that that's actually a Christmas movie. Will meets Freddie Lounds again. Dude, I was really fun. It was really funny when Will saw Freddie Lounds again, and she's like, "I died for you." And Will is like, "You didn't die enough." because like it's like, okay, why are you so upset at her? I mean, I understand that, but I would like you to tell me exactly why. And then he's like, you took photos of me while I was in the hospital. Like she like flipped in like naked and they took pictures of like everything, and she's like, I gave you a black bar, a big black bar. We're welcome. It's like, what? Oh my, what the fuck is happening? Like, oh my god, for the allowance. Like, bitch, why you gotta be like that? Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to mention last episode, but when I first saw Fairy Allowance, so back in season 1, I was like, I feel like I've seen it before. I'm not sure. But I just dismissed it. I completely forgot about it. And then the other day I was watching The Expanse reactions on YouTube from Blind Wave, banger channel by the way, main reason why I have a channel. So I was watching The Expanse reaction from Blind Wave because I watched The Expanse on my channel, and then they started watching The Expanse themselves, and now they're ahead of me. Never mind that. But so they, in The Expanse in season 5, there is a character, I think her name was Lieutenant Babish or something like that, and she's played by the actress that plays Freddy Lounds. So when I saw her, I was like, wait, aren't you fucking, hold on. And I just look up the actress, and it is in fact the same actress. And I was like, oh my god, you play like a shitty character in both shows. Are you typecasted as like the crazy bitch? Is that your typecasting type, lady? Like, I haven't seen her in any other show, but like in the 2 shows that she's been in, she's like this like crazy bitch. And I'm just like, is this just your type? Is this just your type of character? Like, you know what? That's fine. We do need crazy bitch characters. So the fact that you specialize in them is actually a good thing. So thank you for your service. But like, anyway, so Fairy Lounge showed up, and she's snooping around, and she wrote articles about Will and Hannibal. And she's essentially just like, the crazy dude who has superpower came and meet up with the fucked up serial killer who he had like a weird relationship, and they seem to be teaming up in order to catch this fucked up new serial killer, and everyone's like, oh my god. And here's the thing, is that Francis saw that and he called Hannibal. So that's how the episode ends. He calls Hannibal, and he's like, I don't remember what he said, but it was essentially something like, I am honored that you have interest in me. And then he's like, what's your name? And it's like, the Great Red Dragon. And it's like, okay, official name change then. Hannibal knows him to be the Great Red Dragon now. So not the Tooth Fairy. But yeah, I don't know if Hannibal is gonna divulge that information or if he's gonna like keep it to himself. I almost feel like he will tell people, you know? Or maybe they're monitoring the calls anyway. But if they're monitoring the calls, then fuck it. Everyone's just gonna know next episode. But Hannibal could keep that information to himself. But I feel like he might tell people. He's like, oh, he called me. He called himself the Great Red Dragon. And it's just like, because like, he didn't really reveal anything. He's just like, I am happy that you took interest in me. So it's almost like, you know, it's like almost like we're doing something wrong here, Jack, you know? Or maybe they're going to be like, oh, but that brings him closer to him because he might do something like stupid because he wants to like call our attention or something like that. Like, I don't know. So I don't know exactly where that's going to go. I feel like they're probably going to know because I feel like they're going to start calling him the Great Red Dragon, not just the Tooth Fairy, you know, because that's kind of lame. And I feel like because the Great Red Dragon is such a, like, it's like the main title, I feel like everyone's going to know him as such, you know? So, yeah. There was this thing with Alana and Hannibal, and Alana she essentially, like, says, you're trying to get Will fucked up. And Hannibal is like, am I? I have Will's interest in mind. And she's like, I don't fucking believe you. I'm gonna take away everything from you. Because what you fears the most is actually indignity. So she's like, I'm gonna take away your books. I'm gonna take away your drawings. I'm gonna take away your fucking toilet. You're gonna shit on the floor, you bitch. I'm gonna take your dignity away from you. And Hannibal like doesn't reply. So that's interesting. Alana's just going in. But Hannibal might actually be like caring about Will. but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like, everyone is like psychoanalyzing each other, and I'm not sure to what degree any of them are right or wrong. So there we go. And I think the only other thing I want to mention in the episode is the fact that Abigail came back for a little bit. We get to see more or less what Hannibal's life with Abigail was like, a couple moments. So we see a flashback to the end of season 1 where Hannibal is like, I'm sorry, I couldn't save you from this life or something like that, and then quote unquote kills her. But then you see Hannibal just straight up being like, all right, now we're gonna fake your death. And Abigail's like into it. She's like, oh, can you press the button? It's like a childish thing to say. It's like, really, she's your murder daughter. So we see that, and that's kind of cute. And it is the idea that Hannibal wanted to be her father almost a little bit, and it was. And even in the events of season 2, they're like cooking together, and she's like, shouldn't we run away? And Hannibal is like, no, let's wait for Will. I suppose because he was hoping that Will would show up and then they could like elope together as a family, maybe that's what he was hoping. So then Abigail is like, then what do I do? And Hannibal is like, okay, you know how you said that hunting with your father was like actually like the most fun thing you've done or something like that? Okay, now you're gonna hunt with me. So it's like essentially just like, okay, get ready, and then if anyone comes into a house, you murder them. And it's like, okay. So that's why she yeeted Alana out the window, because she was like, all right, I guess I'm hunting with my new dad now. It's the idea that Abigail, like, she was in a rough position because if she was alive, then that would mean that she killed that one dude. She couldn't escape like the FBI or anyone just catching her and just putting her behind bars for what she did. So yeah. I mean, would you be able to be like incarcerated as Abigail? Because isn't Abigail a minor? What does the US do with minors? That's something I'm wondering. Anyway, so we see a couple of scenes that actually do add a little bit more context, but that almost retroactively makes it like worse, almost, because like, here's the thing, is that before in season 2, because you, the audience member, didn't actually see Abigail for a long time and you thought she was dead, now because you see these scenes where Hannibal is hanging out with Abigail, it almost makes it worse when he kills her, because previously, you, the audience, you didn't see Abigail at all. So then it's like, oh, she's alive and she's dead again. It almost like doesn't hit you, and it almost doesn't feel too fucked up, you know? But because now you see that Hannibal and Abigail, they're essentially like father and daughter, and they were just doing stuff together, and they had like an actual connection and a relationship, and then he kills her anyway, just because he's angry at Will. It's almost like, come on, bro. Like, how does that make sense? How does it make sense that you form a meaningful bond with someone and then you just murder that person just because you got angry? You know, just because you got angry at your lover that cheated on you, you're just gonna murder your daughter? Is that how it works? I understand that person actually does like the baby, but you don't have to murder the baby, okay? Especially if you care about the baby, because that's the thing. It's like, you don't have to murder your daughter if you love your daughter. With the context of season 2, you almost feel like Hannibal kept Abigail around because of Will. So then he kills her because she means something to Will. But now, with this added context, it's like, okay, I actually do care about Abigail. And then it's like, okay, why did you murder her then? Like, I know that you murdered her because you got angry at Will and you wanted to like sever the bond with Will. But if you actually do care about her, then fucking why? Just kill her like that, bro. It was such a cold-blooded kill too. And well, that also explains why Abigail just, when Hannibal was like, Abigail, come here, she's like, okay. Because she probably wasn't thinking like, oh, he's gonna murder me. Because you've been hanging out with him for a long time. He's like your new dad, you trust him. And then he just, it's like, bro, come on, man. Anyway, I think that's the added content that it brings. It's not something that doesn't make sense, but it's something that it's like, come on, bro, why? Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. God, I've been talking for like 47 minutes. I felt like I said nothing of substance. And that is a perfect microcosm of this channel. I just talked for a stupid amount of time, and then I realized that it didn't say anything that mattered. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for this reaction episode of Hannibal. It is Tuesday, and I have to edit for tomorrow. I'm gonna die. Alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for this reaction episode of Hannibal. If you would like to catch next episodes, next two, you can do so over at the Patreon. Check out the link in the description for that, for early access episodes and full-length reactions. Check out social media, Twitch stream, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you to these patrons, I forgot. See you guys next time. Bye bye, take care. Phew.